Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today is finally the day. Today I finally start the second part of my reading vlog where I read my favorite YA paranormal romances from way back when I was a teenager. At long last, I'm filming this intro. Technically, I'm filming this intro like 3 days late. It's June 29th. I already started reading one of the books for this vlog 3 days ago, as you will eventually see in a later clip where I actually talk about the book and how I've been feeling about it. But for now, I'm going to leave you with past me explaining what the books featured in this vlog are all about and what I remembered about the books that I am going to be reading during this vlog. So let's just let past Natalie do that. Rereading by Amber Kisser. Memories of this? It has angels. Period. That's it. And I think the love interest is called Tens. We will discover once I read the summary for you. But also, this is the author that is most dead out of all of these, because there is a Twitter account for her, but it hasn't been updated since 2014. I looked for her website, and at least in the way that I tried to look for it, it did not open, like it had not been paid for anymore, so it no longer exists. So you're looking at remnants of the past. No, but seriously, this was one of my faves. This was one of my faves. Actually, this is one of my faves that I distinctly remember when I started my new high school. One of my English teachers saw me with this book, thought the cover was cool, and I told her, oh, it's so good. So I recommended a book to my English teacher when I was like in 8th fucking grade, and she read it and really enjoyed it. So like, this was delivering when I was in 8th grade. So now actually that reminds me that I couldn't remember when I had read any of these books, because that's the other thing. These books, I think they were all published between 2009 and 2010. Like the 4 books that I picked were published between those years. But on Goodreads, I have them all as read in 2013, which is actually when I think I started my Goodreads account. So I was just putting in every single book that I could remember. But I'm pretty confident I read this in 8th grade. It feels like it was 8th grade, but it might have been another grade, 9th or 10th, but it was certainly not 11th and certainly not 12th. And for context, I graduated in 2014, so do the math. Anyway, let's read what this is about. Oh, and there's also something about her touching animals, and either she kills them or brings them back to life. Something. Rereading has always been an outcast. It seems that wherever she goes, death and grief follow. On her 16th birthday, a car crashes in front of her family's home, and though she's untouched, Meridian's body explodes in pain. Before she can fully recover, Meridian is told that she's a danger to her family and is hustled off to her great-aunt's house in Revelation, Colorado. There she learns the secret her parents have been hiding for her entire life. Meridian is a Fenestra, the half-angel, half-human link between the living and the dead. It's crucial that Meridian learn how to transition human souls to the afterlife, how to help people die. Only then can she help preserve the balance between good and evil on Earth. But before she can do that, Meridian must come to terms with her ability, outsmart the charismatic preacher who's taken over Revelation, and maybe, if she can accept her sworn protector, Tens, for who he is, fall in love. Meridian and Tens face great danger from the Aternachti, a band of dark forces who capture vulnerable souls on the brink of death and cause chaos. But together they have the power to outsmart evil. Dark, lovely, and lushly romantic, Meridian will entrance readers. Oh, and also the aesthetic of this cover. I actually love all the covers featured in this video. Okay, last but not least, The Replacement by Brenna Yovanoff. This was hardcore one of my faves at the time. Honestly, I'm lying. All of these were hardcore faves, but I think this is actually one of the ones that I actually reread when I was in high school. And this one is actually one that inspired me to follow the author. Like, she released a few books and I always tried to keep up with them, but technically I think I only ever read one more book of hers, and I own another of her books which I still haven't actually read, and always had my eye on another one. So really, I've read 2. Let's summarize that. I've read 2. I have one in my physical TBR and one in my I haven't bought this but I want to read it TBR. So I had a journey with this woman, and she's doing pretty well for herself. She wrote a book with like a deal with like Stranger Things, so she wrote a book with like Max as the protagonist. So like, lady's doing good for herself, which we love to see it. This one, what do I remember? It has fairies, it has a changeling, it has a scene where he's trying to enter a church but can't for reasons I cannot remember. So that's everything. That's all that I remember of what this book is about. So let's read the summary. Mackie is not one of us. Though he lives in the small town of Gentry, he comes from a world of tunnels and black murky water. A world of living dead girls ruled by a little tattooed princess. He is a replacement left in the crib of a human baby 16 years ago. Now, because of fatal allergies to iron, blood, and consecrated ground, Mackie is slowly dying in the human world. Mackie would give anything to live among us. He just wants to play bass guitar and find out more about an oddly intriguing girl named Tate. But when Tate's baby sister goes missing, Mackie is drawn irrecoverably into the underworld of Gentry, known as Mayhem. He must face the dark creatures of the slag heaps and find his rightful place in our world or theirs. The vibes. The vibes, of course. The vibes. So see you whenever I update this vlog. Okay, y'all, it is update time. So it is June 28th, and I technically should have updated you 2 days ago on the 26th, because I officially started The Replacement by Brenna Yoganoff. The thing is that I've been helping my parents move into a new house, and so things has been hectic. So like, I was able to do a bunch of stuff while listening to the audiobook, but I really didn't have the energy, the brain cells to film myself updating you all. So 2 days later, I am about 130 pages into the book, and honestly, I'm really enjoying it. I am seriously vibing. I think everything is going really well. Like, some of the stuff still feels very like your average typical YA, but in general, I wouldn't put that completely against the book. Like, the most cliche thing so far is that the protagonist has a crush on the popular girl at school, like the super pretty popular girl, and then there's a weird girl, or weirder, she's not really stereotypically weird girl, who's going to be the actual main love interest. And so that's the most stereotypical part, but I'm still kind of enjoying it. So whatever. Overall, I really enjoy how fairies are explored in this book. I really enjoy that we follow a changeling or a replacement in this book, and how he's very sickly because iron is one of the biggest weaknesses of the Fae, and so many things have iron in them that he's just perpetually like fucked up. And so right now it's at a part where, honestly, all of these vlogs are meant to be spoilery, I guess, but he's at the part, and it's still early on in the book, that it doesn't really feel that much like a spoiler, where he basically finally meets with other full-blooded Fae, and they're like, if you play in this band and get like adoration for us, then we'll give you the stuff you need to live a healthy life. And so he's like, okay, I'll do that, because he's basically dying. Like, so much exposure to iron and other things that the Fae are susceptible to is basically slowly killing him. So I don't think there's anything else I should note. Yeah, I've just been vibing. Honestly, I've just been vibing and really enjoying this. Okay, y'all, I'm coming at you very early on July 3rd. Is it even 8 in the morning? I'm not entirely sure it's even 8 in the morning. But I wanted to finally give you an update, because I have been slowly working my way through the replacement, but I know I haven't really updated you all in a while, in several days. And I always thought about it, but then I would be tired, and then I would be like, oh, I'll update at another time. But I'm about 240 pages into the replacement. So far, again, really enjoying it. The weird part is that I'm starting to get vibes that I'm sure I did not see at all when I first read this. And it's that our protagonist, Mackie, has this best friend called Roswell, who honestly, the two of them have more chemistry than Mackie has with either Tate or Alice, who are his genuine love interests. That's mostly because Roswell and Mackie are actually genuinely good friends. Like, Roswell cares about Mackie whenever Mackie is like sickly or having like side effects from being a half fae or a full fae. I don't even know if he's fully one of those, but whatever, whenever he's having his side effects, Roswell is always there to be like, hey, do you need something? Do you need me to take you somewhere? Are you okay? So like, all of those very caring vibes leave me like, romance, beauty, incredible. Meanwhile, all Mackie ever has with Alice or Tate is drama, like both of them getting annoyed with him because he's so secretive, because he won't explain why he acts so strange around them and whatever. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I ship them, but whatever. Apart from that, honestly, this just has way more fae than I was anticipating. Like, I felt like what I remembered of this was very light on the fae, but it really has been pretty strong on the fae. Mackie interacts with the fae a lot. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that, but I'm like, I need to mention it again because it's true. Like, he spends a lot of time with fae, talking with fae. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. And then the other thing I don't think I've mentioned is that for a good portion here, music is like very important. Like, the fae basically recruit Mackie to be in a band because they need the adoration of the town they're in, and so they do it through music. And he's a bass player, and so he starts playing for them, and there's this like one concert where he feels essentially the magic of the concert experience as a band member. So I don't know, it's just interesting, it's just cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this ends, because honestly, reading it, I had so little memory of the facts of the story. Like, honestly, so much of it has felt brand new. So yeah, I will update you probably once I'm done with it, because I don't have that much left, you know, like it's really not that much. And then I don't know when I'm going to start the other book for this vlog. I've thought about it a couple of times, but then I go, nah, so we'll see. Here's the kitty keeping me company as I film. I thought I might as well share her, since I don't really film her that much, or any of my pets. But she's in a very convenient spot right now. So, have a little gratuitous Wyland shot. That's her name. I also don't ever say the names of my pets. I don't know. It just is what it is. I almost forgot to film an update. It is July 5th and I'm not even holding the book. I finished The Replacement. So, what was this experience like? Not very memorable, honestly. Not very memorable. Like, I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 3 or 3.5 stars, because objectively I think it's a good book. Like, I still think this holds up. I still think it's good, but it just didn't slap the way I wanted it to. Basically, it's because I think Mackie and Roswell should have been the couple. Like, they made more sense than Mackie and Tate. Like, I just couldn't buy their relationship. It just, for me, their interactions were so few and far between that it just didn't make sense to ship them. And then there was the whole thing where Tate was trying to be the strong girl, but ultimately it was still Mackie being the hero, which obviously makes sense because he's the protagonist. But ultimately, again, it's Mackie who saves the day. So, like, trying to do her whole I'm a strong independent girl routine while ultimately the guy is the one who saves the day is kind of meh. But whatever. What else? I generally liked the ending. I just thought this would have been better gay. I guess that's what we've learned. So yeah, that's it. That's basically it. I honestly wish I had reread this physically instead of as an audiobook, because even though I do feel like if I started rereading this immediately, I would know everything that happens, I'm having this weird thing where I'm listening to audiobooks and in the moment I'm processing the words, but then I have zero recollection of them. So there is memory, but it's not doing great. My memory is not doing great. So yeah, I will see you again once I start reading Meridian, but I don't know when that's gonna happen because I can only read it physically, so we'll see. I just remembered something else I wanted to mention that I forgot earlier, and yes, I just took a shower, so this is yet another costume change. Anyway, the other thing is that in The Replacement, the relationships that feel most meaningful are between Mackie and his sister Emma, and then of course my gay agenda with Mackie and Roswell. So that's the thing where, because so much more page time was dedicated to how much Mackie loves his sister Emma and interactions between them, and basically the lengths Mackie would go for Emma and vice versa, the things Emma would do for Mackie. And that's kind of why I felt like the romance felt a little bit flat. I feel like if the gay agenda couldn't thrive, then at the very least it shouldn't have had romance at all, basically. Like, I understand the impulse, I understand this is YA and older YA, and obviously YA is very romance heavy, so I get it, but I feel like ultimately it would have been better if it hadn't been there, you know, if it had just been about friendship, about sibling relationships and all of that stuff. I think that would have made the book all the stronger and just not left me feeling like the romantic relationship we actually got was meh, you know? So yeah, now officially I'm done, and I will update you again once I've started Meridian. And also, I haven't really updated you all on anything else. One of the things I wanted to mention in this vlog, which I didn't, was that during my reading of The Replacement, I learned about not safe for work ASMR. So I tried that out of curiosity, because honestly I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, what exactly is this? And so after a mini deep dive, I see the appeal, but like after that initial jump into it, I'm like, I don't need to revisit that again. Like, it's fine, it can live by itself. And I'm not gonna give any recommendations because like I don't need to expose myself like that. Anyway, the other update is that today I actually went to the Van Gogh like immersive exhibit, whatever. It was cool. It was really cool. I feel like I overpaid for my tickets considering the length of the thing, but it was still fun. It was still, I feel like if I had paid less to go, I would have been happier. But overall, I did enjoy the visuals, the music, and all of that stuff. So part of me is actually happy that like I was going to go to that when I went on a trip to Paris a couple of years back with one of my friends, but we couldn't squeeze it into our schedule. And I'm kind of happy that I didn't do that over there, especially because I saw some actual Van Gogh paintings while I was in Paris. So I feel like having seen it in Chicago was enough. Like that was okay. Like that scratched the itch, sated my curiosity, and I can move on. So yeah, those are the life updates, I guess. So okay, officially now, bye. Okay, I'm officially back after several weeks. It's August 7th and I finally started reading Meridian. Why did it take me so long to pick this up? Because I'm a mess, and honestly because I was fighting the urge to start a second reading vlog, but I was like, commit, Natalie, you already started this one, finish it, okay? Just finish the project. So here we are, August 7th. I am 100 pages into Meridian, and it was a rough start. I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a rough start. The prologue and the first chapter were actually the first few chapters were very clunky. The sentences didn't flow properly. Like one thought after the other didn't feel like they naturally fit in together. So the writing felt very stilted. And then I felt like at the very start the author was trying to rush through everything, I guess to make it more like exciting and make the reader want to keep reading. But honestly, to me it was like too fast. I was like, let's slow down, let's take a moment, let's calm down. But apart from that, I have actually been enjoying this. There have been a couple of quotes here and there that I was like, that's not great. But whatever, it has worked out. It's okay. Nothing too major. There was only like one description of a character that I was disturbed by. But it worked out because he ended up being a nice guy at the end of the day, so it was fine. It's not like he's an important character, he's a side character, basically just there to momentarily help the protagonist. Let's not get into that either, please. Anyway, what do I have to say about this so far? I remember that Tense was like such a bitch to Meridian at the beginning. I don't know why he was so dramatic, but I mean, I think I vaguely do remember why he was being a bitch, but it's still annoying to read it the second time around, because the first time I remember still that I was kind of like, why did he have to be such of a jerk in the beginning of the story? Anyway, we will not talk about why until I have actually reached the point where that is explained. But I'm starting to enjoy it, and honestly, it's very, very easy and quick to read. Literally, I have taken one sitting and read 100 pages. So I'm pretty confident I'll probably be updating you tonight as well on my progress on this book. So I will see you when I have read some more. Also, because I have been so bad at like updating you all, I wanted to do a little bit of a plant haul, because about a week ago I got this orchid, this succulent, and this monstera plant, and I'm very, very fucking happy. So yeah, just wanted to show that. And then since I almost never show my animals, here is one of them. And then let's see if I can show you the other one, because she likes hiding under the bed. There she is. She doesn't want to look at us. Oh well. I forgot to mention that along with that black man with the questionable description, there was also a Latina also with questionable interactions. At least that one was in a more positive light. Like, she didn't mistrust her, she just tried to help her because there was like some miscommunication going on while she was at a bus station. But it was still a little bit like very tokenized. Let's just put it like that. Let's just throw it out there like that. Okay, I'm back. Update with Meridian. I'm 150 pages in, so I'm basically halfway through this. I was gonna say something to give a legitimate update, but I don't know. Okay, I guess I'll go with like my suspicion that I don't know how to feel about it. But let's start with, I'm not an Indigenous reviewer. I don't know anything truly deeply about this, but our love interest, Tens, his full name is Tens Katawa, which is just one letter short of being the name of some historical Indigenous figure called Tenskwatawa. Again, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation here. I apologize. And I'm just uncomfortable with the potential of it being an Indigenous teenager who is bound to protect this white girl from the forces of evil. I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Oh, and the connection with Tenskwatawa as well is because that historical figure is also known as the prophet, and Tens is a prophet. So I'm like, one, if she was trying to hint at that, why misspell the name? Two, if that's not what she was trying to do, I guess I'll see. Because I don't remember, honestly, I don't remember having read this and thinking there was Indigenous rep in it. But that doesn't mean that it's not true. It just means that I was not aware. Anyway, we shall see. And then finally, it's revealed that essentially Tens is being an asshole because he feels like he's failing Meridian because she's all emo about her life, because obviously everyone has been concealing everything from her. Like, no one told her about her ability to basically help spirit souls move on to the next life. And so when she goes to live with them, and they're still, and by them I mean Tens and her great aunt or great aunt, something like that, she's still sad because they won't tell her everything. They're still hiding things from her. So I'm like, bruh, how are you upset when she's basically in the same situation, only now you're feeding her crumbs of information? I don't know. But in general, I am enjoying this. I had forgotten like the cult element. Like, she's in this small town in Colorado, and this cult is taking over and essentially sending threats to her and her great aunt, and they're basically trying to turn everyone in the town against them, trying to make them seem like they're bad, when what they really do is help make the transition into the afterlife peaceful. So I had no memory of that, but I'm still interested, still engaged, so I will update you again when I have read some more. Okay, so it is August 8th. I am 250 pages into Meridian, so I'm very, very close to the end. I have like 50 pages left and I'll be done with it. So, thoughts. We have learned that Tens is half Cuban because we learned that his father was a Cuban immigrant. But we don't learn anything about his mother, and we don't know much about his grandfather either, except that he's the one who essentially taught him about his visions, kind of how to interpret them and whatever, and about what his possible, you know, destiny is and whatnot. So there's that. What else have we learned? So far, I've just been enjoying this. I think, honestly, the pacing is a bit too fast. Like, things happen way too quickly. The romance is too quick. The pacing of everything is too quick because there's like a forced deadline that doesn't feel like it naturally fits into the narrative. Like, there's essentially like, she has essentially like a week to figure out her Fenestra bullshit of taking souls into the afterlife, and that's kind of like intense. But anyway, she's finally been able to comfortably move souls, human souls, into the afterlife. And so essentially what we're just waiting for is that the aunt she's living with now will die, and so her final test essentially will be to move on the soul of her aunt, who's also a Fenestra. So yeah, and of course the cult leader guy, the priest, pastor, whatever the fuck he is, he's showing himself to be more and more sinister. Honestly, he's very, very cheesy. His sinisterness is very cheesy, but whatever. It is what it is, and I will update you when I finish this. Okay, y'all, we did it. It's still August 8th, and I finished Meridian. So I'm giving this 3.5 stars, I think. I'm like stuck between a 3 and a 3.5 star. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing, you know? Like, it was fine. It was basically fine. I found it very compulsively readable. Like, it was very easy to get through, so that's kind of what I liked about it. That it really was smooth sailing, essentially, to pick this up and just read the whole thing. But overall, I didn't think the writing was the best. I didn't think it was, wow, incredible, amazing. It was just fine. It was just fine. And like, part of me is kind of nostalgic and does want to continue rereading the series, but I'm not sure if I will yet. I will basically leave the continuation of this series as I'm going to continue this vlog series essentially by making a third part where I read the sequel of Nevermore, which is Enshadowed. So basically, once I'm ready to read Enshadowed, which will be after another reading vlog that I'm planning on making, then I will decide if I want to still read Wildcat Fireflies. Essentially, basically leaving myself space to not be in such a nostalgic moment, driving my urge to continue the series, because this one is chunkier, the sequel, so I'm not like that invested yet. So we'll see what happens. But essentially, how did this finish? I think I wanted to say like one more thing about how this finished, but I can't remember what it is anymore. I guess one of the things I'll mention is that I remembered this ending differently, but then I don't know if what I'm remembering is real or imagined, essentially. I will only find out if I continue reading the series, but the ending of this was quite convenient, and basically all the side characters from the beginning that were questionable representation showed up at the end, basically, to save Meridian's ass. So I was like, not sure how I feel about that. But it's fine. It's fine. Overall, what have I learned from this vlogging experience? That teen me had questionable taste, but also that the YA that was coming out when I was a teenager was definitely something else. The YA genre really has changed. Even though its roots are the same because it's still pretty romance heavy, it has made some leaps and bounds that are like, wow. For the better. So the one thing I can say is that the book that holds up the most would be Nevermore, because it's thoroughly enjoyable, has the least amount of content that I'm like, yikes. And it just serves vibes. It has the aesthetic, the Edgar Allan Poe aesthetic and stuff that I love. So I think that's what holds up the strongest. But everything else I've read has been either decent to bad, bad being Sea Change, and then decent being Meridian and The Replacement. But like, I definitely see why my teen self loved it, but I definitely do not love it now. So does that make me kind of sad? Yes, but at the same time, as long as I can see why my younger self enjoyed these books, that's enough for me. That's enough to make me happy, you know? So it all works out. Anyway, what else should I say? I already told you that I'm planning to continue this vlogging experience later on, so I guess I'll just see you then. And yeah, and I never finished crocheting the whale. Like in part 1 of this vlog series, I said I would finish crocheting it in this second part, but I didn't, and I didn't want to rush it. So maybe in part 3 or maybe in the other vlog I'm planning. Actually, let me hint at what's coming. Just a quick peek, you know, just a quick peek. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.